Hello! We were doing a project similar to this, and I didn't put slick stick on, and I should have. I know better than not to. I didn't. And then when I went to pull my stencil off, it pulled all the paint off with it. I've never had a complete epic fail on a live on Facebook before. But it's a good lesson for everybody, and I had mentioned it in the live that I should have used it, and if they are doing this, they should use it, so now they know for sure. But I am going to redo this so that when we go live tomorrow, we are doing it the correct way. And Dixie Belle reformulated about a year ago their product. They mixed Boss and Slick Stick together into one product, and it's called Bonding Boss. And that's the product that you can buy today. I still have leftover Slick Stick, and Slick Stick still works great. So if you have leftover Slick Stick, you can use that too. If you don't, then you'll need to get some Bonding Boss. So that's what I'm going to do. So I stirred up my Slick Stick, and I'm just going to put on a coat now, let it dry. Before I go to bed tonight, I will put on a second coat and let the whole thing dry overnight. And then we'll start the project over tomorrow. I thought it would be good to, address the issue, what happened, why it happened, what the solution is. And you can see how smooth and easy the Slick Stick is going on, and your Bonding Boss is going to look just like it. And this just makes your paint and everything else you're doing to bond, to adhere to it. So like when I've painted jars and bottles and stuff, and I've always used Slick Stick. And I've had creators, retailers for Dixie Belle tell me, oh, you don't really have to when you're doing it on glass like that. But I always have. This is honestly the first time that I didn't do what I knew to do. And boy, was it an epic fail. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to wash my brush really good with soap and water because you don't want to leave Slick Stick or Bonding Boss in your brush. That's a big no-no. Another trick with Bonding Boss to make it easy to open, because it will really bond your lid closed. So I just take a piece of saran wrap, and I don't want to set it over here. I think that's still in camera. I just take a piece of saran wrap and put over the top of my lid, top of my jar, and then just take my lid and just screw it down. And just like that. And that just keeps it real easy to open that back up. So I'm just going to leave this just like you see it. Tonight before I go to bed, I will come back and put a second coat on it and let it dry, and then we'll go live tomorrow. But it says Cottontail Station Delivery Service and Happy Easter, has cute bunny rabbit and the eggs on it. And this is a charger plate that you can pick up at any of the dollar stores. Coated this with one coat of Slick Stick last night and let it dry overnight. And then this morning, first thing, I coated it with a second coat of Slick Stick. And so we are ready to go. The first thing we're gonna do is paint our background on here. So the color that I'm using is Dixie Belle, and it's Weeping Willow, which is a really pretty soft muted green. So it's always good to have a mister bottle. You don't want a spray bottle. You want to use a mister bottle because you just want a fine mist. Okay, and I'm going to get the dryer and give that a quick dry. That's probably better. So I made a new stencil and I actually took a glass plate and laid it down on here and drew around it so I could cut it out evenly. Okay, so like I said yesterday, I like to do this at a 45-degree angle. When the print on these is smaller in scale, sometimes that print will come up, and if you're doing it at a 45-degree angle, it lets you just lay it right back down. And I'm going to stand up so I can get this centered properly. Okay, so press it down. And before I press this down, I'm going to separate out that piece. So you want to pull it at a 45-degree angle. Now, see, I just laid it down, but the inside of that A came up on here. So when you're doing this, you want to watch carefully that, especially on parts of insides of letters, that you get them laid down. And you don't want to pull straight up on it. You want to pull it off like this. Okay, see how that R came up? Just lay it back in place. It's real common for all the insides of your letters to pop up when you're doing this. And just keep it at a 45-degree angle, because if you pull straight up on it, you're going to stretch and lift that vinyl up. So just be patient. So I'm just lifting this up so that it gets laid down exactly where it needs to be. Okay, and now that I have it all on here, I just want to smooth it out, especially around the edges. Okay, so all my edges are down good. I don't have any bubbles or anything lifting anywhere. And so now we're going to take some top coat. And paint that over our letters. And the reason we're doing that is so that if anything decides to run underneath the stencil, it's going to be the satin top coat, and the satin top coat is going to seal it and prevent the paint. When I get to the paint, it's going to prevent the paint from running underneath the stencil. And the reason why I like these, I really love using these stencils much better than using the Mylar stencils, because you always run a risk with Mylar of getting leakage underneath. And so I always prefer these. However, after saying that, I pulled out a bunch of Mylar stencils yesterday that are big mandalas, big ones, bigger than I can make on my machine. And I think next week, before it gets too stinking hot here, I think for next week's live, I'm going to stencil these big mandalas on the steps going up to my front porch. So that will be stenciling on concrete. And it's something I've wanted to do for a lot of years, and it just occurred to me the other day that I had a big stack of mandalas that I bought specifically to do that, and it was like, well, Deb, you should do it before it's 115 degrees out. And when I say 115, that's not even an exaggeration. We had a whole week of 120 last year. Okay, so we're going to give that a quick little dry. The green is called Weeping Willow. It just came out with a whole, like 6 new colors just a few days ago. A few weeks ago, actually. I pulled out another color to use on this today also, and that's Vintage Duck Egg. And I think I'll do the eggs on each side in the Vintage Duck Egg. But I do ship them with instructions too. And you can always text me or call me if you have a question. So I always put 2 coats on. Okay, moving right along, you guys. And I'm using the silk paint in Anchor. And then there's a chalk paint that's black. And it's one of those names that's escaping me. It's a real pretty black too. I used it for years until they came out with the silk paint. So I'm working really hard to get, I got all my videos downloaded for the last 6 years. Last week when I didn't go live, that's what I worked on. And so now I'm editing them and putting them up on YouTube. So if you guys would do me the biggest favor and just go to my YouTube, and the link is in the description, and subscribe, I would appreciate it, because I have to work at growing that channel just like I had to work at growing this page. This page, I have almost 4,000 followers. I think I have less than 100 on YouTube. So I got some catching up to do. And then, like, if you are thinking that you want to do something like this, but maybe not this year, but you remember it for next year, it'll be up there on YouTube. It won't be on Facebook anymore. So we'll put on a second coat. Susan, the color for the Happy Easter is Secret Path. Kind of a goofy name for this color, but it's a beautiful color. Secret Path. So now we're going to use some cotton, Dixie Belle cotton. And we're using our little makeup brush. You can pick these up cheap at the Dollar Tree or Dollar General, whatever, wherever you have one close to you. And I'm going to pounce it into my paint, get some paint on the top of it, and then I pounce it back off because I don't want a glob. And I think I'll do his little tail first. Now that everything is black, it's a little hard to tell. And then we had some down here on his little paw. And on these paws. Some on his nose, so I'll do that next. some up here on the arch of his back. With this black and this black, it's hard to see where it ends. And then we had some down here on the tum-tum. That's what I always called my granddaughter's tummy, is her tum-tum. So I can always go back over these, and if they need to be a little rounder or a little bigger, because it's real hard to tell with all this black. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, you guys, say a little prayer. I'm going to give it a quick dry, and then we're going to pull this off. Yeah, I did get a touch of white off the edge there, but that'll be easy to fix. Cute. Okay, so I just have to pick out, looks like a little piece came up there. So I'm just picking out, you can use a toothpick. I happen to have a picker from Cricut. I'm just going to just put a little dab. So Cottontail Station. Catching it on the replay will be just fine. And that's another reason why, you guys, I would just really love it if you would be sure you go over to YouTube just for situations like this, because as soon as I get done with a live, well, not just as soon, but pretty, like within a day or two, I get them up on YouTube. So that's got to come down. I'm just like figuring this out. Let's look at this one. So I'll get it all in perfect alignment for tomorrow. And I'm thinking I might need to outline these letters in some black to make them pop up a little more. And these letters are going to be in black, so I think that'll help that. So I think it's looking cute. That bunny's super cute. So I have been working on this project today. I've been adding on the stencil, and I have one more here to pull off. And then I was thinking about this lettering doesn't show up as much as I would like it to. So I got out a really fine tip brush, and I was going to do it with a brush, but then I decided I would just use a black stylus pen. So we'll do that together. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take off this last piece over here. So you want to pull them off at a 45-degree angle. You don't want to pull up, because that'll pull your stencil up and it will stretch it. And sometimes different letters want to come up with you, and just hold them down with your fingernail or a tool. Like the middle of that A just came up. Just want to smooth that all down. Okay, so I squirted some Dixie Belle satin top coat. Okay, so I'm going to paint the letters all black like I did on this one. I think with the bunny that looks good. And I said when I first came on, this Happy Easter, even though that color is super pretty, it doesn't show up real well. So I got out my fine tip paintbrush and I was going to outline the letters. And I just thought, I don't know if I can do a good job on that. So then it occurred to me to just get a Sharpie pen. So I did that. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it with the Sharpie pen. I think that'll work out well. So I'm using the silk paint and Anchor. The black and the silk paint is called Anchor. And it's going to take 2 coats on here. That paint might have been a little too thick. Okay, well, there's a couple of places where I need to do a little touch up. Boy, Mickey, you have been following for a long, long time. Okay, so I can't remember what color we said we were going to do these eggs. I kind of think we said this same color, which is Weeping. It's not Weeping. It's a funny name. Secret Path. But before we do that, I'm going to try using the Sharpie pen to outline this. I think it will help those letters show up. This one's got red paint on it, so it's probably been used. That one doesn't want to work.